This is tutorial number 13, and it covers the slot sequence 2. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to be using the G01 and G90 code to create slots. So what we're doing is we're going to try to create this slot in our CNC program. So from before, I showed you the kind of like the template of making a slot. And now from the slot that we want to make in this picture here, we're going to create into our template there. So the first thing that we have to look at is our starting points. So in our template, it's at x at 2 and y at 1.125. Now in our example here, our slot begins at x at 1 and y at 2. So we're going to have to change that. So let's make x at 1.0, and our y value is going to be 2.0. We're going to keep the same spindle speed, and all the M codes and everything is going to be the same. Now for the height, we're going to do the same as before. We're going to leave all this the same. It's going to go to 2, it's going to go to 0.1, and then it's going to go in. When it goes in, we're going to change it over to G01. Now the depth that we're going to put it into, we're going to put it half an inch in. So let's put this to 0.5, and we're going to leave the feed rate the same. Now our next position that we're going to be going to, we've already done this position here. So we've got it at x at 1, y at 2. We've drilled down, we're inside. Now we have to travel over to this point here. So this point here is x3, y at 2. So all that we have to do is just change this to x at 3.0, and we don't have to put our y value because it's redundant. Like I said, it's still going to be 2.0, so we don't have to change it. Now we're going to go to our next line. So I'll make this N260, and we're going to go straight up. So we're going to go up to a value of y at 4. So we'll do y 4.0. We're not going to show x because it's redundant, and we're not going to show the feed rate because the feed rate is going to be redundant. It's still going to be 12. So now we've gone from this point to this point to this point. Now we have to travel across down to this point here. So let's go to the next line, and we'll call it N270. So our x value is going to be 5. So we'll make it x 5.0. And then our y value is going to be 2.0. So we'll make it y 2.0. And now we finished it. Now our last line is going to create it, is going to pull it out, and it's going to make it go back into its rapid motion. Now for the last one, let's change it to 280 just to be consistent. Now a couple things before we start this. Before we plug in the program, I wanted it to be a 0.5 inch diameter tool. So we'll call it T01, and we'll call it 0.5, and we'll make it H01. So now we have our program. So let's copy it, and I'm going to put it into our CNC simulator. Now I'm going to go to Simulate, the Edit Tools, and make sure that our tool 1 is what we want it to be, 0.5, and it is 0.5. Click OK. Now our size of our part, I'm going to change it. Let's go to Detail Settings, and it's at 6 and 6, but I'm going to make it 10 and 10, and we'll keep it at 1 inch thick. Click OK. And now let's run this and see what we get. And we get the cutout that we wanted. We want it to go across, up, and then down on an angle like that. So by using the G code, we're able to create the slot just like we wanted to. So in this tutorial, what we did is we created our slot using the G01. So we used the linear interpolation, which is the one that you need to be using. And then we also used the G90, which is the absolute value programming. So we were able to create the shape and the cut that we wanted using both of those G codes. Now in the next one, what we're going to be doing is doing the same thing, but we're going to be doing it with the incremental programming. And that concludes our tutorial on the slot sequence 2.